I got a story coming up with a specific magazine that we're going to talk about that really illustrates the rarity of vintage newsstand Sports Illustrated issues. We're going to go into great detail about it. I know I've talked about it a lot in the past, but this unboxing video is really going to highlight some of the specifics on that. I'm Jim, CGC Sports Illustrated. This is an unboxing video. 5 slabs in this one, all vintage. And I'm trying to sit here and think, there's one of these I've never owned before, and it is a big dog. So that's going to be a lot of fun. As I go through this and unpack this, making sure I don't peek at any of the grades, let's talk a little bit about magazine pressing. So I've started a new series where I am kind of going into some specifics and detail and doing a lot of before and after of magazine pressing. So if that's something you're interested in, just kind of go to the homepage of my YouTube channel and go back and check out some of those videos. I think they're titled Comic and Magazine Pressing. I've done a bunch of them recently, so go check those out. Pretty interesting. I do a lot of before and after pressing pictures and photos and stories on my social media accounts, and they tend to be some of my most popular posts. And so I got a lot of requests for like, hey man, we want more of this. We want more of this. Do some videos on it and that sort of stuff. So I've done some of those. So if you're interested in a little bit more about pressing, go check those out, especially if you're coming from sports cards. If you come from comics, you get it. You already know what pressing's all about. But if you're coming from sports cards, it's kind of a whole new world, and it's fascinating. I know it's been a little while now, but the whole Victor Wembanyama, Kurtz Card Care, Superfractor 101 controversy that popped up that I'm still seeing some stuff on social media. The whole idea of cleaning, pressing, prepping cards and magazines and comics before grading has been fascinating. And obviously there's 2 sets of rules, and cards, the rules for grading sports cards completely different than the rules for grading magazines and comics, but it's fascinating. Okay, 5 slabs, all vintage, great stories. Let's rock and roll with number 1. Oh, that's a big number. That's a big number. That's an 8.5 on this Del Crandall issue from 1958. Now, this came up in another recent unboxing video. Man, that's beautiful. 8.5. That is beautiful. Okay. So let's talk about this. This is Del Crandall. This is his first cover. Doesn't say Del Crandall first cover, but that's not why you get this one graded. Came out on April 21st, 1958. Pop Reports. There's a 9.4. That's fairly new in the census. So if you got that, congratulations. You popped a beauty. There's a 9.4. There's one 8.5. right here in my stinking hands, and there's an 8.0, and there's a bunch of others. I projected this at an 8.5, so smack dab, right, nailed the projection on this one. But what's so awesome about this is what's inside this magazine, and that slab note right there, if you want to pause it so you can read it, I'll read it to you. It says, Amen Corner, first used in print. So in this issue is an article where the first time anybody ever used the phrase Amen Corner, and I've done a lot of talk about this in the past, and it's probably the most famous portion of any golf course in the world. It's at Augusta National. It was made famous by the Masters this year, 1958. There was a scoring controversy involving Arnold Palmer on the 11th, 12th, and 13th holes. That's what's called Amen Corner. It's part of the 11th, all of the 12th, and part of the 13th hole is called Amen Corner. But this writer used that phrase for the first time ever in this copy of Sports Illustrated right here, properly labeled on the slab label. And for golf fans or anybody of sports, that makes this super, super collectible. I love this issue so much for that reason. And I came across this video on YouTube, so let's take a watch of this, which dives in a little bit further into Amen Corner.
Augusta National's 11th, 12th, and 13th holes are called Amen Corner. The name was attributed to Sports Illustrated writer Herbert Warren Wind, who christened it such. He was describing the way Arnold Palmer played those holes in a somewhat miraculous manner. In 1958, heavy rains prompted a local rule which allowed a lift, clean, and drop for an embedded ball. At the 12th tee, Palmer hit his ball over the 12th green, and the ball embedded in the soft ground. After speaking with a rules official, he and Palmer agreed that the ball should be played as it lay, but that Palmer could play a second ball, waiting for a final ruling. Palmer holed out for a 5 on the embedded ball. He dropped the second ball and made a 3. While playing the 15th hole, he was told that his drop at 12 was proper, which led to his first Masters victory. Wynn's inspiration for Amen Corner came from a jazz record titled Shouting in Amen Corner.
There's no use shouting in that amen corner.
The apparent center of Bible manufacturing in the late 1900s was in Lower New York City, which became a popular spot for sidewalk preachers to preach old-time religion. The many amen shouts heard each day led to the term Amen Corner.
So fascinating, such a great piece of history, and you know, you've got the greatest golf course in the world, Augusta National, the greatest golf tournament in the world with, you know, the Masters, and the most famous portion of that golf course called Amen Corner. Checks a ton of boxes, and the first time it was ever mentioned or ever used or ever came up with was right here in this issue of Sports Illustrated from 1958. Graded at 8.5. It's a pop 1 and only 1 graded higher. Love that issue. All right, next up. Okay, you know what this issue is. If you're expert level, you can tell by just the back what this issue is. I've gotten a ton of these graded, and my grades on this issue lately have just been terrible. Just gotten crushed on my grades in this recently. So let's take a look at it anyway. Oh, that's actually a lot better than I projected. Okay, good. Maybe that's how I need to do this. Maybe I need to go into this with just terrible expectations. These slabs are all going to stink. The grades are going to be terrible. Why am I even doing a video on this? Maybe that's how I need to go into these. Because when I do it that way, then the grade does better than what I thought. First copy of Sports Illustrated ever produced, August 16th, 1954. The Pops, they're 95 9.8s, 156 9.6s, 119 9.4s. I had projected this at an 8.5, so much better than expected. There are 803 total copies of this issue graded. There are more copies of this issue of Sports Illustrated that have been graded by CGC than any other copy of Sports Illustrated. There is still no mention, and I'm going to mention it on every single video I do that features this one until I get the proper labeling on this. This should be labeled as Eddie Matthews' first Sports Illustrated cover, because that's him at the plate right there. This was taken at the old County Stadium in Milwaukee. On opening night, by the way, for County Stadium in Milwaukee in 1954. Every time I get this one graded, and I've gotten it graded 20, 30 times, I do follow the proper procedures that CGC, the head grader at CGC, has told us that this is the way to go about doing it. You take a Post-it note. You write down your request that you want on the slab label. You put the Post-it note on the back of your backer board. Then you put the backer board inside the bag, and then you put the magazine inside the bag. And then you handwrite the request on the packing slip as well. Those are the procedures the head grader at CGC has relayed to us, that that's how you get slab label requests. I've done it every single time I've got this one graded, and they've still not labeled this as Eddie Matthews' first Sports Illustrated cover. But more on that. Hopefully one of these days they'll do it. Quickly, I've told this story a ton of times before. The reason why there's so many of these out there is because Sports Illustrated kept the overrun. They knew they were going to be producing this historic publication, and so the copies that didn't sell, that were sitting in their warehouse, they just let sit in their warehouse. And then some executive at Sports Illustrated in the 90s was like, hey, I bet we could make a ton of money if we slap these in a fancy leather binder with a certificate of authenticity and sell them to people that like Sports Illustrated. And they did that. So there are tons of these in the marketplace, still extremely collectible despite the pop counts. I have done an in-depth video on how to spot the reproductions and the fakes, because this copy and issue has been faked and reproduced more than any other issue. Go back on my YouTube channel, watch how to spot the fakes on that. But 9.2, rock solid grade on this first copy of Sports Illustrated from 1954. Pretty good for vintage. Are you kidding me? A 1958 with an 8.5, a 1954 with a 9.2. Let's keep those big numbers going with this one right here. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all. I'll take that all day long. You know why? because that 7.5 is a Pop 2 with none graded higher. Hard for me to have a problem with one of the high, a Pop 2. There's 2 of these in the whole world, and one of them is my stinking hands right here. None graded higher. OJ Simpson, first Sports Illustrated cover, November 20th, 1967. Like I said, 2 7.5s, there's a 7.0, and there's a 5.5. I projected this at 7.0, so again, above my projection, just like the last one. I'm pretty happy. This is a great unboxing video so far. I know that, you like it when I get terrible grades and I lose my stuff and act like an idiot because I'm so upset about it. Sorry to disappoint you. Apparently this box is just for me because all the grades are doing pretty well. Only 4 copies of this issue graded in existence. And I get it. Part of that is it's OJ. And I collect this not because I'm celebrating OJ Simpson for, because he's obviously an awful human being. But it's a piece of history. And part of getting these graded is preserving that history. And so there's OJ right there, number 32 for USC, his first ever Sports Illustrated cover appearance. And I think that you've got to be able to compartmentalize and sit here and say that, yeah, he's an awful human being and did some horrible things later on in his life. And we can sit here and recognize that this is a piece of history that needs to be preserved and that we can recognize and sit here and say, yeah, the guy was an incredible running back as well. So OJ Simpson, first Sports Illustrated cover, says so on the label, 7.5, Pop 2, none graded higher. All right, I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious right now. These grades are too good. Too good. What did I say about flipping the karma on that? These grades are too good. There's no way that I can get good grades on the last 2 slabs. I expect them to be absolutely terrible. Okay. Don't even care about the grade on this one. Don't even care about it. Roberto Clemente, first Sports Illustrated cover, July 3rd, 1967. Never owned this one before. I've never owned this one before. It says first Roberto Clemente Sports Illustrated cover right on there. Pop reports, there are 2 9.0s, there are 2 8.5s, there are 3 8.0s. I projected this at a 7.5, so missed my projection to the downside, but still in my window. 18 copies. I told you I was going to talk about, pop counts and rarity and all that sort of stuff. Only 4 copies of OJ's first Sports Illustrated cover. Only 18 graded newsstand copies of Roberto Clemente's first Sports Illustrated cover. Okay, do you want to take a guess? Just take a guess at how many copies of the 1955 Topps Clemente rookie card have been graded by PSA. Take a guess. 13,000. More than 13,000. And that doesn't count BGS and SGC. I guess I could have gone to the pop reports there too and done a rolled up cumulative number. There are 13,000 1955 Topps Clemente rookies that have been graded. 13,000. His Sports Illustrated, there's 18 newsstand copies. That's it. That's why this hobby is so awesome. And why so many of us love it so much, because we've got an opportunity to have something that is truly rare. You think about vintage sports cards and the rarity of them. And yeah, if you own the only PSA 10 Roberto Clemente rookie from the 55 top set, it's a Pop 1. Okay, gotcha. That's rare. There's 13,000 graded at PSA. That's an insane number. 18, that's it. That's why I'm completely comfortable and happy with a 6.5. Never owned this issue before. So hard to find. I've been looking for this issue for, 5, 6, 7 years. Finally found one in newsstand. I'll take that 6.5 all day. Good box. Good box. One issue. Man, I love these vintage boxes. So much fun. One issue left. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can't have some fun. Let's see what we can do. Oh man, that's a good grade. That's a great grade. Oh, this is great. Bart Starr, January 9th, 1967. Here are the pop reports. There's a 9.2, there's a 9.0. There are now 2 8.0s. And one of them is sitting right here in my hands. What I love about this, okay, Bart Starr, Hall of Famer, incredible player, Green Bay Packer legend. Gotcha. Check that box. This is not his first cover. Okay, fine. Packers playing the Cowboys. Great rivalry. The photo for this cover was taken during the NFL championship game that year. Packers beat the Cowboys 34-27. Vince Lombardi versus Tom Landry. Bart Starr was the MVP of the championship game. The history and capturing those moments in history beautifully with an image like this and a great grade like that are why I love Sports Illustrated. They do it so much better than so many other collectibles. From the visual aspect of it, the award-winning photography, the way they display so well, the way I can go back and source exactly when that photograph was taken. The NFL champions, before the Super Bowl, NFL championship game. So amazing. 8.0 Bart Starr cover from January 9th, 1967. Great box. Love it. Follow me on social media, Twitter and Instagram at CGC Sports Illustrated, my comic and magazine pressing and cleaning service. Drop a comment here or DM me on social media and we'll talk about that. And we'll do another one soon. Thanks.